Hello and welcome to another video. As usual, my name is Jeffrey. This is the Inquisitive Universe. How are you? How are you doing? It's been a while, so welcome back to the channel. Today we want to talk about the effect of poor network on smartphones. The effect of poor network on smartphones. Now, I'm using the term poor network because it's a term that most people are actually going to search for, and it's basically what we all use. I think the proper term to use is actually the effect of poor signal or poor signal strength on smartphones. When we say network refers to a connection of computers, right? When we say but you know, the term like network is supposed to refer to the connection. So what actually helps, since we're on a wireless connection most of the time, what actually helps this connection happens is the signal from our smartphone to a cell tower or to a Wi-Fi provider and vice versa. So I think the correct term should be the effect of poor signal or poor signal strength, but it's network that we're all used to. So hey, let's talk about the effect of poor network on smartphones. So poor signal, poor network is when you are unable to get decent enough signal strength to be able to do stuff that you want to do with your phone. So there are certain effects that this has on your smartphone, and that's what I want to talk about right now. So again, I don't have a teleprompter, so I've got a list on my lap, so I'm going to be looking at it from time to time. So the very first problem, the very first thing that you're going to see when it comes to poor network is going to be poor battery life. That's one of the very first effects that you're going to get. Why? Because your smartphone's SoC has got what we call modems on board, and your phone has got radio antennas. So these radio antennas are usually almost always on. They're usually embedded into the body of your phone. I think there was one time iPhone went to put theirs on the side of the phone, and then when people held the phone on the side, they actually cut off network. I think it's called network gates or something to that effect, but that was like 11 years ago now, so I'm not going to go there. But your phone has antennas on the body, and these antennas are always supplied with current or from the battery to keep them active searching for network. So the modem is there on the SoC coordinating most of this stuff. So when the signal strength is poor, your SoC is going to funnel more battery to the modems to give them more power to power the antennas to be able to see if they can increase the search range for network. We're looking for network. Let's give the antenna a small boost to be able to get, at least let's amplify the little signal that we're managing, that we're getting. So this increased power draw is going to lead to a lower battery life. That's why when most people just come out and they ask me like, Jeff, what's going on? I don't understand my phone anymore. I'm like, check your network. You can easily do this by going to settings, battery, and then see what's consuming your, I think on Xiaomi phones you can actually be able to check and see the network bar. If the network is around green, you're okay, but if it's usually around yellow, amber, or red, then your network signal is poor, and that's what's draining your battery. So you should put that in mind. The second effect, number 2, is heating. With increased battery use, heating is going to come up, because why? Most of the battery is going to go to the SoC where the modems are, and the modems are going to be funneling that battery out to the antenna. So the SoC is going to draw in, pull in more power. So as it's pulling in more power, it's going to be using in more battery, and it's going to be getting hotter. So heat and battery are not friends at all. So when your phone starts to heat up like that, I think most of the time you should just cut your losses and turn off your network to protect your batteries, because as your smartphone begins to heat up, your battery life will start to deteriorate. In addition to the earlier battery draw that we've mentioned. So that's number 2. The first one is increased battery consumption. The second one is heating. The third one here is speed. Your smartphone speed is going to take a nosedive, either from the increased workload of the SoC or from the poor network reception. Either way, your performance on your phone is going to take a nosedive. You're going to be on Facebook, and Facebook will keep refreshing and refreshing and refreshing. Are you on a web page trying to do something? Are you on a website? Are you trying to work on something? It's going to be loading really slowly. It's going to be a very frustrating experience. Your smartphone speed, generally, whether it's due to the network or whether it's just the SoC that has been bogged down with the load that it's trying to carry out, speeds are going to take a very huge hit. And that's going to take us to the next one, smartphone longevity. If you are in a region, as I have once lived in a certain part of Nigeria, very remote part of Nigeria, where you have to be scraping for network signals consistently, 5 months, 6 months, a year, and you've put all this increased pull on the battery, and the phone is always heating, and the battery life is taking a nosedive. Your phone isn't going to last very long. If you plan to use the phone for maybe, say, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years, it will probably start to pack up in around 2 years. And I'm being really optimistic when I say 2 years. It could even happen in less. Usually the battery will be the first thing to die, and then other issues will crop up over time. So it's going to affect the longevity of your smartphone. And then finally, it's going to mess up your user experience. Your user experience generally is going to be terrible. Your phone's battery isn't lasting anymore. Your phone is slow. It's always hot. You can't do anything with it. It's going to piss you off, really. And right now, this isn't 2014 anymore. This isn't 2013 anymore. Almost everything has got to be online. Games are online. Everything's online. Everybody wants you to go online. Apps are online. Even things you can do offline. I mean, you can't use Microsoft Word offline anymore. They want you to go online and sign in after a certain period of time. SimCity that used to play offline, it's got to be online now. If not, they will log you out and you'll be unable to access the game. Even Cooking Fever, of all things, is online. Everything is online. So if you cannot go online and your network signal is here and there, your user experience is going to be awful, terrible, and that's really, really sad. But it's not all doom and gloom. What can you do? There is something that you can do. You should not just resign yourself to fate. There is something you can do, and I've got a whole list of stuff that you can do. The very first thing that you want to do is, if you find out that your network reception, your signal strength is actually poor, the first thing you need to do is try and switch providers. It's very important that you do this first. Ask around, ask people, bro, what provider are you using? What network provider are you using? If you're on X network, switch over to Y network or switch over to Z network. It could improve, it could be a lifesaver. That's the first one. The second one is, if you find out that you've asked and all of the network providers in a place are like really, really awful, you'd have to move. I'm sorry. You'd have to move. You're going to have to move. You may need to move, right? Although this one is going to be actually be like, I think where I live, it's possibly going to be, top of there. But if you live elsewhere, if you live in a Western country, for example, or in a first world country, this may not be your first move, as there are two other options that you should be able to check out, which are, the first one being, get a signal booster. These are pretty expensive, but if you can get one, it would help. You could install it on your roof, you could install it off a window, for example, but it's going to boost the signal, so it's going to, like, how signal boosters work is that they take in the signal and they amplify it, and then they then forward it inside your apartment or your living quarters, and then that should help with the network reception. If you cannot get a signal booster, you may have to switch from a wireless connection to a metered one, to a wired one, or to a metered one. Maybe you're going to have to leave maybe a broadband network provider and then use Wi-Fi, for example, wired Wi-Fi, for example. So it will say you're going to have to send it to a Wi-Fi router, or maybe you switch over to a Mi-Fi with better signal receptor than what you've got on your phone. You could also do that too, but depending on where you live, these options are usually based on different regions, depending on where you live again. So that's what you can do. Like I said, first off, you may need to switch providers, then you may need to move. But if you have the following options, you may not have to move. That is, get a signal booster, that is number 3, or number 4, switch to a wired or a metered connection, Wi-Fi, basically. So yeah, that's it on this video. Tell me what you think. Have you ever had to go through this? How did you solve it? Leave comments. It could help other people. It could be a lifesaver for other persons. So yeah, with that, my name is Jeffrey. Thank you for coming. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It's stuff like this that helps more channels like mine grow. I'm not affiliated to anybody. I didn't mention the name of any network. I'm just here to give you very good information that is practical and useful without any of the bullshit attached. So please make sure to support my work. Thank you very much for coming, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.